Remember, only clean, dry, and unbagged recyclables should be placed in your blue cart in order to ensure a successful recovery at the recycling facility. Trash the bags and other tanglers to keep them from jamming the recycling equipment and bringing processing to a halt. For more information about what can and can't be recycled in your blue cart, visit hcflgov.net/recycling.
Awesome. So that's where all your recyclables go. They get sorted at a facility, and you saw the really cool machines and the magnets and the optical sorter that actually reads the belt and sees, oh, this is a water bottle, and actually puffs a jet of air to launch the water bottle into its own thing. It's a really cool process, but there's a lot of limitations to the facility. And as you can see in this little video that I took is all the trash that makes it into the system. You can see those Amazon bags that I was talking about, a lot of plastic bags. You saw at the beginning, those guys who are grabbing the hose off the top. That conveyor belt moves about 3 to 4 feet a second. So, when you go to Publix, it's really slow. This is like I Love Lucy, and they're grabbing things off the belt really fast. 3 to 4 feet a second is very fast. So they're the first line of defense to make sure those don't damage the machines. This is actually our glass pile in this bottom left corner. And I asked people, like, what do you think this is supposed to be? Like, oh, that's the trash, right? That's actually our glass. Because of how much trash we get, it ends up in the glass pile. Glass is super expensive to recycle. That's why places like City of Temple Terrace have dropped glass from their program, among other reasons. But it's just really hard to get clean glass. Plastic bags, hoses, cords, wires, t-shirts, belts, chains. If it can wrap around your arm, it can wrap around our machines. And that's what this bottom right photo is showing. Those workers have to crawl up in there, cut those bags out one at a time. Super expensive to do, super dangerous to do, and just so easy to avoid. Just by switching to one thing is just eliminate the plastic bags. If anybody asks, well, why are we recycling besides those benefits I showed you earlier? What are we actually making with the recycling? Plastic can make a number of different things. If anybody asks me, most plastic bottles are actually turned into clothing and textiles, carpeting. So most plastic bottles are not recycled back into other plastic bottles, but you have great corporate goals like Coca-Cola trying to make more of their products from recycled plastic. They did switch all of their Sprite bottles from being green to clear because green plastic was much harder to recycle. It's harder to find an end market for that. You can get furniture, equipment, carpeting. Metal is infinitely recyclable. Most aluminum cans, like over 80-90%, are recycled right back into the same metal can within a matter of 8 weeks. Very cool. Kids always get grossed out when I say that. It's all cleaned. Glass is also infinitely recyclable. Most glass jars are made right back into bottles and jars. Some of it is used in construction aggregate, beach restorations, paper. You can recycle paper. It does kind of degrade over time, though, a little bit, from high office paper all the way down to paper towels. And then cardboard is readily recyclable, too. One stat you can always throw at people is recycling one aluminum can saves enough energy to power a TV for 3 hours straight versus making it from virgin aluminum. Hillsborough County recycled enough aluminum in 2020 to power a TV for 32,000 years straight. So that's not even 1 ton of aluminum, that's 1 can. That's how much you save because metal is so intensive to make. Making it from a recycled can is so much more, you save so much more energy. Here's some quick do's and don'ts of recycling. Recycling rules differ depending on where you live. That's why it's so important to check your local rules and make sure you review guidelines at least once a year. You'll see this is Hillsborough County. We have 4 municipalities in the county: City of Tampa, City of Temple Terrace, and Plant City. The rest of the county, wherever you live, Brandon, Lutz, Ruskin, it's all unincorporated Hillsborough County under the auspices of the Board of County Commissioners. So you're a solid waste customer of Hillsborough County. A lot of City of Tampa, this whole area here is called New Tampa. They're City of Tampa residents, but they're Hillsborough County customers. A lot of addresses will come up as Tampa, but you might be a Hillsborough County customer. You might be a City of Tampa resident, but you're Hillsborough County customer. Hillsborough County solid waste customers have a blue recycling cart. For example, City of Tampa residents have a green recycling cart and a blue trash cart. We have a blue recycling cart. So it's very confusing. I'm here to let you know, we understand it's very confusing. We're trying to work towards one common recycling system, and that'll save a lot of confusion. But it's important to know, don't try to tell someone, hey, that's recyclable or that's not recyclable, because it could be different. You could both be right. That's what I find very interesting is when I have residents call and say, I was talking to my friend in City of Tampa, and you're actually both right. It's just you have different programs. Good to know what is contamination. Anything the system cannot process is not recyclable and can damage the system. Plastic bags, t-shirts, electronics. Electronics are recyclable 100%. Bring them to one of our community collection centers, bring them back to a Best Buy, they'll recycle it. Plastic bags, reuse a bag over and over again, put it in the trash, give it to Publix, they'll recycle it. T-shirts, donate them, reuse them, quilt them, but they're not recyclable. And unfortunately, we find a lot of that. Food waste and soiled items can contaminate the load. Placing recyclables in plastic bags, even though they're all clean and good recycling, if it's in a plastic bag, it can wrap around machines. We also don't know what's in the bag. It could be, we find needles, broken items, hazardous waste. It can, be very dangerous for the staff. And then garbage or yard waste, diapers, food waste, soiled products, and we find yard waste branches too. We have free drop-off for yard waste. We have curbside collection for yard waste. We compost it, mulch it, don't need to put in a recycling bin. We went over these, but contamination causes fewer materials to be recycled. It can damage the equipment. It's an increased danger to staff. Increases the processing costs because every time you put something wrong in the cart, we now have to load it back up in the truck and then truck it to its correct destination. When if you just put it in the garbage cart correctly, that would just be one haul. It decreases the value of recycling and creates less demand from the end markets. Recycling is only valuable when the end markets demand them. If these companies say, this is too dirty, it's too wet, I'm finding plastic forks, I'm finding shredded paper, I can't recycle that, it costs them more money to clean it up and recycle it correctly, which means I'm not going to want to buy anything from Hillsborough County anymore. I'll go to somewhere else. So that's why it's so important to make sure recycling is clean and correct. Keep that demand up. So when in doubt, leave it out. It's okay to put things in the trash. A lot of us are wish cyclers, want to recycle everything because we think everything has value, and a lot of things do have value, but there's correct places to put things. Plastic bags, although they're not recyclable curbside, you can reuse it as a doggy waste bag, as a trash bag, bring it to Publix. Styrofoam, a lot of Publixes take styrofoam as well. They're not recyclable curbside. Donate your clothing, shoes, and textiles. Electronics, as I mentioned before, although not recyclable curbside, they're the number one cause of fires nationwide because of their batteries, the rechargeable batteries. We recycle them at any one of our community collection centers for free, 6 days a week. All you have to do is show your ID. But when in doubt, leave it out. A lot of people think they'll get it to the right place, or, I've been doing this for years, so I've been doing it right for years, but it's always good to recheck those rules because you might have been doing it wrong, unfortunately, or because you maybe moved from somewhere or you heard something from someone. You can Google just about any item and someone somewhere will tell you it's recyclable. Unfortunately, they might be talking broadly or because they saw a company somewhere do it, but our curbside program is designed for very specific items. I mentioned our hazardous waste collection programs before. If you have any hazardous waste, something called under the sink, your Radex, your Goo Gons, your paint thinners, we take that for you. First 3 Saturdays of the month at rotating locations. It's for free. We don't want your kids getting to it, pets getting to it, dumping it down the drain, putting in the trash can. Again, these are one of the major causes of fires too. So let us recycle it for you for free. Just come bring it to us. Here's some other examples. And lastly, those key takeaways. So trash the tanglers. Anything that can wrap around your arm is considered a tangler. Hoses, cords, wires, t-shirts, plastic bags, namely, and bag recycling. When in doubt, leave it out. It's okay to put things in the trash. Really, we should be reducing our waste anyway, not creating as much to begin with. The best waste is no waste. Check your local rules at least once a year wherever you live because they can change. City of Tampa's recycling contract changed just last year and a half ago. They don't take cartons anymore. They don't take plastic containers anymore. So now they have to re-educate their entire service area that they don't take these items. So it's good. And there's new products on the shelves every day. It's very confusing. I totally understand, but we don't work with these brands. They put false labeling on them saying, hey, recycle me. But that's not always the case for the local program. And share this information. The best thing you can do is teach others what you learned today. I mentioned before, buy things made from recycled content, not just things that are recyclable. Avoid wish cycling and the different types of contamination. The 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. That's not just a cute saying, but it's the order of how we should be managing our waste. And Hillsborough County adopted this early last year. to with our comprehensive plan. So now when we make any decision, we have to ask ourselves, does it reduce waste, create no waste? Does it reuse what we currently have? And then recycling. Recycling is really third on the list. A lot of residents try to recycle our way out of our problems, but we're not going to recycle our way out of our problems. We really need to begin reducing what we consume, material-wise, water, electricity, solid waste materials. And then be sure to ask questions. This is a very fast presentation, a lot of information. I don't expect you guys to remember anything and everything. We have our website, we have me, but now you're all recycling ambassadors and you can go and educate others as well. So I'm here to answer any questions. We have lots of resources. We have our waste reduction campaign, Reduce Use Tampa Bay. We have a regional recycling website. In case anyone asks you from St. Petersburg to Tampa to Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, they want to know what they can recycle, send them to tampabayrecycles.org. That's our regional webpage. It's much easier to say than hdclgov.net/recycling. Just send them to tampabayrecycles.org and it'll get them to the right place. There's a lot more I could talk about for sure with Hillsborough County. Our backdoor disability discounts, our senior citizen discounts, our missed pickup requests, our broken recycling car requests. We have a new program with Goodwill that accepts donations. We have our landfill, how do landfills work, how does waste energy work. So if you have any questions about that, I'm definitely a subject matter expert too on that. But I will open up the floor and just thank you again for this opportunity.
Wait a minute.
Thank you for your presentation. What is a senior citizen discount?
Definitely. So we have an online application that I can share that link as well. Seniors in general produce less trash, so we don't want to charge you more, the same amount as a regular family would have 5. So you can qualify for it. I don't have the exact details off the top of my head, but I can share that link.
Thank you.
Of course.
I have a question, sir. I've been reading recently that only about 9% of the plastic is actually recycled. Is that true, or that by case basis, or?
That's a great question. I know NPR and Greenpeace have had a lot of reports recently about the amount of plastics recycled. It's a very skewed representation because most plastic that was ever created was not meant to be recycled. I mean, there's car parts and plane parts and parts and appliances that will never be recycled. But in terms of like the actual bottles and jugs that we deal with, those have a much higher recycling rate than the overall. Again, there's a lot of things made out of plastic. So it's important to look at what is recyclable and how we should just be reducing our waste in general.
Thank you very much. That was a good answer. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
Hello, Dan. Walt Seeley, and I'm the guy who made contact with you back in November. I was curious to find out, we had some LED light bulbs that went bad, and I was trying to find out what should be done with them. The first thing I did was look up on Google, as we always do. I found out that those light bulbs contain mercury and phosphorus, and they're both toxic to human beings. And when they're thrown out, they end up in landfills where the substances can leach out into groundwater and contaminate the drinking water. And the question I had at that time was, where do you take them? And of course, I was told on once a month, which is a bit difficult to take. Once a month, take them to the recycling center. Then I was thinking, how many people in Hillsborough County have LED bulbs? Now, they do last a long time, but they're going to go bad. And I don't think most people I've seen around here are going to make a point of taking them there. Why can't we have a special collection, another bin, for example, for those types of items, LED, and what is the other one? CF something?
CFLs.
The spiral type ones. If we don't do that, our drinking water is greatly impacted. Although I don't know, maybe at the recycling center somebody singles them out, but I suspect they may just get thrown out and treated like the other light bulbs, which are supposedly not dangerous.
Yes, yeah. To your point, we have really 2 broad categories of light bulbs. You have incandescent, which are safe; those normal Edison light bulbs, those can go right in the trash. But LED light bulbs are accepted at our household hazardous waste collection events. and they're 3 times a month. So they're on rotating Saturdays, so they're once a month at each location, but they happen 3 times a month. So if you're willing to drive to the second location or the third location, that's completely available to you. But we have them on rotating Saturdays, so rotating locations, so it's more convenient to the people who live in the area. And so if they, and I totally agree with your point. A lot of people don't know about our programs. So if you do, share the program with everyone. When hazardous waste does make it to the landfill, we do have a leachate evaporator, which is completely new. We just installed it last year, where we actually use the landfill gas from the decomposing food waste you throw away to actually power this new machine that actually evaporates the leachate and has reduced our hauling so much. But all that water, though, that leachate, the garbage juice we call it, any water that touches our landfill, that trash, is considered toxic. Like you said, we don't want it to go into the groundwater, so we have a lot of monitoring wells, and we have a lot of pumps that suck it, and that is all brought to either a wastewater treatment plant facility. So just like you're flushing a toilet, it gets treated there, and the other half of it is actually evaporated by a machine that collects residue and really evaporates the flares as well. So that's what happens to leachate at the landfill.
Hey, Mr. Gallagher, that was Walt, who is our treasurer. I'm Reed, the president. 2 things I just want to bring up, having listened to your speech. 2 of my daughters are full-time employees at Best Buy, and I can absolutely positively confirm it is the easiest thing in the world to take any electronics, go to any Best Buy, walk up, you go to the Geek Squad desk, and that's where they accept the recycling of your electronic items, and they don't care where they're from. It doesn't have to be from Best Buy. They'll take it. Not my experience. Sir, I've never heard of that you pay when you throw things away, Best Buy.
Best Buy has a new program where if they collect it for you from your home, you can pay for that. I'm not aware of that they charge you when
Sorry,
you get
Danny, hold it a minute. We can't hear you. The door's open.
Oh, sorry.
That's not your fault. It's pretty loud out there. It's a billiards room, so you know what that's like. All right, please repeat your last answer.
I was just going to add that Best Buy has a program where they charge you for taking electronics if they come to your home. I believe Target has a similar program. I'm not fully aware of what happens when you drop it off, bring it to them. A lot of companies will take things for free if you bring it to them. I mean, that from construction and demolition debris to scrap metal, some places will pay you for that if you bring enough. But yeah, Best Buy is a good example. Apple, but Hillsborough County, I know what we do with it, so I'll always promote us first. I know we recycle it. We take all types of electronics 6 days a week for free. Just show your ID, and wherever you live, you can be a City Tampa resident, wherever.
Once again, I can only repeat, my daughters have both worked there, one for 10 years, one for 7. I have never, ever had anybody ask me for money when I personally or my daughters walk in and drop it off. They just take them, no questions asked. Not a problem. I'm only speaking my own personal experience, and having 2 daughters that work there, I might know therefore a little bit more. The other thing I want to bring up, because I have the same experience as Walt, I have a big garage, and I recently replaced the ballasts and the 8-foot fluorescent light bulbs, and I had 16 of them. And my experience when I went to the transfer dump station on Route 39, just near Lithia Pinecrest Road, that's where I live, they said, we won't touch them. You cannot leave them there. You have to go to a very special, I don't know if there's 1 or 2 hazardous waste collection site, and it was like halfway around the county, and I had to go there, and you know what? Those 16 8-foot fluorescent light bulbs are just sitting in the weeds. And I have no idea when they'll get up and walk to the hazardous waste station on their own.
Yeah, I believe it's the second Saturday of the month. If you live in South County, it's in Gibsonton at our South County facility. We have another HHW event at Hillsborough Heights and Seffner. And then the first Saturday of the month, it's in Town and Country on Line Ball.
Third Saturday.
She said Gibsonton, there's a collection site.
Yes.
I had a question about the yard waste.
Mhm.
Sounded like you compost and mulch, turn it into, is that available to the public after it's been recycled?
We do provide free mulch to residents, but it's just the first round of mulching where it's just sent through a grinder and you get kind of just the bits and pieces. That's free for residents. But the final end product that we would sell to an end market, that is at the manufacturer, and we don't have access to that.
Okay,
But
for
you
the
have
mulch.
access to mulch.
So that's available to residents. We have to come and pick it up from you. It's not delivered, like we couldn't pay to have it delivered.
No, you have to come pick it up at one of our 2 sites, either at Northwest Transfer Station in Town and Country or the South County facility, the same one with the HHW van in Gibsonton.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
We have a question on Zoom here. Can you recycle clean bags from items like spinach or lettuce if you tear or cut the side so it's no longer a bag? Any suggested way to bring old clothing for recycling is no longer wearable?
Great questions. If it's not a hard, rigid container, we can't accept it. So any sort of original bag or film, even those salmon bags and containers, we can't recycle. So stick to just bottles and jugs, really. And when it comes to clothing, Goodwill does take even old clothing and will recycle it or give it to a third party who can do something with it. We have a new program with Goodwill, so I've learned a lot about them. They're a great example of how to reuse your waste, to donate your reusable materials, but also to buy secondhand materials. That keeps things out of the landfill too.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Hi, it's Catherine here. Can Hillsborough ever ban plastic straws and polystyrene containers like other counties have done?
Great question. I don't think there's the political will at this time to do something like that. For example, like say it's St. Petersburg, probably you're referencing, they did a straw ban. Broward County did a straw ban, but I don't think Hillsborough County, we have a Reduce Your Use Tampa Bay campaign to get people on board to get that change. But personally, as a private citizen, I would advocate for something like that. But at this time, there's no, the state with the previous Nikki Fried, the previous Commissioner of Agriculture, she was trying to make rulemaking for styrofoam ban, but again, it's just that political will isn't there. But it's a good suggestion.
Another question, please. When I take a trailer load of yard waste to the recycling center, it's nice to dump it off, and I see them chopping it up. Is that sold to someone? And as are other things like the plastics, are they sold somewhere? And if so, where does the profit go to when we get the money? I assume it's back to the county.
Yeah, great question. So I'll start with the yard waste. So we have several facilities that take yard waste. Most of the yard waste is taken by the contractor. So we have a couple of companies that operate the sites. They mulch it, they manage it, and they sell it to their markets. So we don't have that kind of proprietary knowledge. They sell it to probably likely Home Depot after they dye it red. Some of the yard waste is given out for free to residents, the free mulch. And a lot of the yard waste, so a portion of it actually comes to our landfill where it's just stockpiled and just sits in these large, long rows where eventually we'll use it either as landfill cover to cover the trash every day at the landfill, or hopefully in a future composting initiative. When it comes to recycling, yes, we do sell all of the materials that we collect, soda cans, cardboard, paperboard, and each of those items has a value. For instance, 1 ton of aluminum on the market right now is about $1,600. So we get a percentage of that money, but we have to pay the processor, who's Waste Connections in St. Petersburg. They have to process all those machines, all that equipment, all those staff we saw, that cost us money. And so the sale of the recycling pays for that process. Now we're getting incalculable cost benefits because we don't have to truck it to the landfill. It doesn't take up space in the landfill. And so the sale of that recycling, sometimes there's markets are really good and we make money back and we use that money to pay for other programs. But most of the time, recycling doesn't even pay for itself because the markets are so bad. So like right now, we're in a negative value. We still have to pay, the recycling pays a portion of it. We still have to pay Waste Connections some money to offset the total cost of recycling that month.
Move it a little bit. All right, this will be the last question.
Hi, Mr. Gallagher. My name's Russ. I have a combination question. I have to squeeze them all into one. I read an article a few years ago that China used to be the primary customer for especially these big bales of plastic because that was the place where the labor was cheap enough and they had an industrial use for it. But they started turning it away because, well, labor became more expensive and the quality that they were receiving of the plastic wasn't very good. And they were starting to send it to places like Vietnam. I mean, we try and think of recycling plastic as, well, at the very least, it saves on landfill space, but it seems like we're spending a lot in fossil fuels to put them on a freighter and send them to Asia. Are any of these, or what percentage would you say are recycled domestically?
I can confidently tell you all of Hillsborough County's recycling stays domestic. The state of Florida requires our MRFs, our processors, to tell us where they send the material they recycle. They don't have to tell us who they send it to. I don't know who the companies are, but I know they send it all domestically. And so I can tell you all of Hillsborough County's recyclables do stay domestic. And to your point, because of what happened with China, they're accepting everything, making counties a lot of money. But when they stopped accepting it, markets crashed and never really came back up to that level because there wasn't the demand domestically. There wasn't a lot of companies here taking the secondhand paper, your used soda cans. But that's really started to grow. COVID, of course, impacted it a little bit, but you see a bit of a rebound in recent months, years.
Yeah, one general question is when you're done tonight, if either tonight or tomorrow, if you'd be so kind as to email the PowerPoint presentation to our club and or Chris Radulich, if you know how to do that. If not, we'll contact you because obviously we'd like to be able to distribute your PowerPoint within the county. Actually, Russ Miller here works countywide for the DEC, and Regina is one of the actually co-head of outside of Plant City. So it'll be your PowerPoint will be spread widely if you would be so kind to send it to us. Okay.
I would appreciate that.
Okay. The other comment I'll make, you don't know me, but people here know I'm a news junkie. And I have read an article some time ago that China basically went from taking everything to literally saying, go away, nothing, just go away, which of course, being China, had a major negative impact on the recyclables market worldwide, and the price tanked because the demand tanked. It's, simple. That's what I heard. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, exactly. The China went from accepting all of our trash essentially, but they said they didn't want to be the world's landfill anymore. And they reduced their contamination threshold to less than 1%, which is really impossible. So our contamination on paper is between like 19 to 25%. So think of it, if you have 100 tons of stuff, 25 tons of it is trash. The diapers, the food waste, the soiled material. And so that's a lot to bring down. So that's why it's so important to have these conversations, to educate others, stick to the basics. When in doubt, leave it out, to make those markets strong, to make sure we're recycling a lot, creating jobs, and saving that landfill airspace.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the last question. I'd like everybody to give a hand for our guest speaker, Mr. Gallagher. Thank you so very much, and take care.
I appreciate your interest and good luck with everything y'all are doing. I can't privately as a citizen, I support the Democrats. So good luck with all that you're doing. And I appreciate you sharing my presentation. Take care.
All right, now I believe we go into our regular business meeting with our treasurer's report from Walt Seeley.
Our available balance as of today is $1,936.71.
Yeah, you're next.
Yeah, why don't you, Walt, the picnic? Pardon? I didn't hear the question. Oh, I'll tell you that. Okay. We did not come out ahead. The food for the picnic was $281.20. Chris purchased that. The fee for renting the park was $42.80. So that was $324 for the picnic. Our raffles, 50/50 and auction brought all those together brought $194 in. So we lost, if you will, although I wouldn't call it that, $130, but everybody had a great time. So. And yeah, that's the other thing. I also took in some money at the picnic for some new membership. So it worked, and I'm not counting their dues, but in effect, it was part of the take.
The minutes were approved by the board.
Short and sweet. I asked Donna because I don't have the context, not having been a member of this club really for more than a year and 3 months. What was the historical context of the results that Walt reported that we lost a little money on the picnic? Is that normal or abnormal? Donna Force said is very normal, so there's no reason to be upset about it whatsoever. It's situation normal, just the same.
Well, first of all, this was not an election period, so we didn't have the number of people that we normally have. So yes, we lost money. However, we did not lose anything because we gained some new members. We also, got together socially and had a great time. So don't even think that it's a losing issue.
Yes. And I'll tell you, we got some very important information that Ione Townsend herself did not know. And I was allowed, because I'm still learning the ropes on the steering committee. And basically, Mary Ellis Smith and Rocky Brancato both talked to me jointly at the same time, and we exchanged information. Mary Ellis Smith told me she is running for the BOCC in 2024 to replace Pat Kemp, who is at-large seat. She's term limited at 2 terms. So that is current, valuable information that I thought everybody would know. But it turns out even Ione didn't know it. And she said, keep it short, read, not a book. And yeah, I yak too much. I agree. So that's an intangible, but that's why we have our officials meet and talk, because it's also business. Once the speech is done, all of us officers or interested board members feel free to go up and talk with these officials. They're human beings. You either have questions or you may learn something. And for God's sakes, if you do, tell somebody. That's all. Common sense. So I agree with Donna. That was invaluable. Oh, and Rocky Brancato, who is running for public defender, he did not know that Michael Owen has a mugshot because he was arrested for fraudulently claiming a veteran's exemption on his homeowner property tax. And Mr. Brancato said, holy heck, he's been a real pain, Mr. Owen. And he's going to verify that because he's in a position to do it. And I said, good. And see, that's another thing that happened. I gave information that may go to a person who not only can verify it, but use it because he's running for public office. There you go. No. I know he's no. I know he's running. No, the fact that he's running isn't new.
My man.
Okay, old business. We have a go on the July parade. As you know, last year was a unique set of circumstances. We teamed up with Temple Terrace. I just happened, as a matter of fact, to get a mobilized notice from Temple Terrace today. I assume the rest of you did. There ago, and they just put out their mobilized notice for their July 4th parade for Temple Terrace today. So we obviously got to get ours out soon, since we're competing, kind of, I guess. So I'm going to let Donna Ford take the mic and tell us what's going on, getting ready for the parade, because she is basically running it. Thank God.
No, no, it's your job. Just saying. But the 4th of July parade is on. We're doing it here in Brandon. We're excited. Yes. Chris paid the money. It's not going to be as big as we did last time. It's going to be Chris's, what is that? Ford Flex. We're going to decorate it all up. We need walkers. Okay. Every walkers. Hey, if you want to come out with your walker, go right ahead, but we do need walkers. If all of your clubs and organizations, Democratic clubs and Democratic organizations, please, we would like you to come out, wear your t-shirts to present, let Brandon know that Democrats do exist here in this area, and come out and walk it. It's about a mile. It's the hottest day of the year. I guarantee you will think, what the hell did I do? I go home and I put my feet up and I fall asleep. It's true. It's awful. But please come out, wear your t-shirts, wear your pride, wear everything that we want to show that Democrats are here. Also, candy. God, we need candy, lots of it. So bring it. Dum-dums, those little suckers, the lollipop thingies, they're the best things because you don't have to touch the little kids' hands. You just hand it to them as you go along. But we do need to hand out candy to all those kids. So please, 4th of July, read your emails. Chris is going to let you know when and where we're going to be meeting. And, I can't stress enough, invite people. We need enough people out there in their shirts and shaking hands and letting the Brandon, East Hillsborough know that we're here, right? Right.
We're going to meet in the spot we always meet at about, 8 or 9? 8, I think. Don't we normally meet? It's at Causeway and Kings, the shopping center that's there, because they'll have, no, Causeway. Yes, because, and at that point they shut, beyond there, they shut the road down because that's where the parade vehicles go. And you can't bring anything in there. So we tried to decorate early with whatever decorations we can put on my flex this year, since we don't have that much space to put it on. Putting it in front of the windshield is not going to work. Right? Well, someone else can drive my flex. If we rent the vehicle, I'm the only one who could drive it. So
All candidates.
Yes. We don't charge anybody anything to participate in the club. We do ask, like I said, you bring candy. Candy's good, and candy that does not melt. While it's hot, it's not that hot. It's only 90 some odd degrees. Jeez.
Is the county bringing their speaker truck? Jose Vasquez?
No.
Okay.
No, they don't participate. So it's us.
Okay. Well, they did bring it to the Plant City Christmas Parade.
Darren Hassan comes every year and walks it. So I expect him back. Just saying.
Okay,
You're wearing his shirt.
I am.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you can think of or add vis-a-vis parade that aligns with your job? Countywide as volunteer coordinator. I don't, yeah.
We still have the volunteer appreciation party on June 3rd. And we have events, if you haven't had a chance to volunteer in anything yet, that will qualify you. The RSVP deadline is May 25th. That party will be in Thenota Sassa at Alex Sink's house. It will be fully catered. And it'll be fun. We've got 70 RSVPs so far. We're expecting a couple hundred people. That's how many came 2 years ago. If you remember having done anything since the last party, which was May of 2021, just tell Reed, and Reed will send you an invitation. That would have to have been something active. Oh, yes. That's something yes. And I just want to remark that there are 2 events coming this week. We need canvassers. Peg has come out to one, and Radina and Reed have all helped us canvass right next door. The precinct is 967. It's less than a mile or 2 from here. It's a majority Black and Hispanic precinct. We're looking for volunteers while we're canvassing, and we're hoping that they'll become precinct captains. We got a lot more precinct captains in the majority Black neighborhoods that are north of there too, in that Orient Park, East Tampa area, and that's Region 7, yes. As opposed to Region 5, which is east of Brandon. Region 7 is west and north of Brandon. Right. We have slots for 70 precinct captains there, and we have 10 precinct captains. So we got about 60 slots we can fill if we just find volunteers. Right. Mhm. Oh, and just before I let you go, that's Friday at 5:30. This Friday, we meet in the outdoor dining area, and also this Saturday at 10 a.m. I had the council last week, Saturday at 10 a.m. I had 3 people sign up and they all canceled the day before. Last thing I want to mention, what was it? I'll come back to it. I'll let Reed talk.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. That is my problem, and it is. One of the things that I want to relate from last night's steering committee meeting is there's been great progress made on the very issue that I just mentioned, some areas that were weaker than we would like to be. There is a new regional director, and she's African-American woman. She's been coming to our general membership meetings at the Hillsborough Teachers. Yeah, it's in an old cigar factory, Habana Avenue. And she stepped up and said, I want to be a regional director. And if Regina can remember her name and which of the regions.
Lois Davis, Region 3, which stretches from Seminole Heights through Ybor City and over into Temple Terrace.
Say that's a largely or which is African American.
I'm not sure. I'd say a good quantity is, though, and probably not majority.
Region 3.
Oh, yeah. Mhm. Oh, and two things I want to say before I give it back to Reed. That I just remembered. We did get a new volunteer who's in precinct 852 and he speaks Spanish. Precinct 852 is right where this bowling alley sits. And we created another shift this Friday so he could do it again. He's not usually free on Saturdays. So we're making some progress. And last thing I wanted to mention, we need a regional director for Region 7 too. Mhm.
That's, like I said, progress, but we're not there yet in Region 7. And Russ, by the way, is doing one heck of a job. I purposely will tone down my usual language. Heck of a job. I want to give him a hand. He's everywhere doing everything. And that's my kind of volunteer. Some of us are lucky enough to have the time. Some of us are not. And it's kind of like that communist motto, to each according to whatever. Whatever you can do, do it. If it's money, great. If it's time, great. If it's skill sets, great. Now I'm going to do the same thing because Russ is kind enough to be a member and is here. I'm always going to give him a chance to talk. And now I'm going to do the same thing with Gina Richter. She is the co-regional director of 5. That's everything except Plant City. Lauren, is it Wyke or Wick? I don't know. Wyke. Lauren Wyke is her co-regional director for Plant City. She just recently took over a few months ago for CL, who is retired from that job and become the president of the Plant City Dems. Now I'm going to give the mic to Regina, and wherever you want to go, be my guest.
I just want to say that in Region 3, we've been talking about that. There are wonderful enclaves of Democrats. I mean, some of Hillsborough County can be very antagonistic, and you don't know, who's going to be driving by and what kind of flags they're going to be seeing. But I was working with a volunteer in Region 3, and every time somebody opened the door, they were so genuinely happy to hear from the Democratic Party. So that can be rewarding in itself, just knowing we're not alone and we have the potential to really build an army.
And just to add, especially for the folks online, if you want to find these events and sign up for them, just type into Google Hillsborough, Mobilize. And for our events in Region 7, it's Region 7. And for yours, it's Region 5, right? And that's all you need to do.
Another of the items on the new business agenda, it's turned out to not be as big a deal as I thought it was. It is the recertification process for all HCDEC clubs and caucuses. It occurs every 2 years, I believe. Last was in August 2021, and the other one is now just starting. What I have learned is that the official package that will go to all clubs and caucuses to actually start doing it and filling out was finalized this weekend. Russ Kahn was heavily involved in that because he's one of us at the county level. Now he's also vice chair in charge of, and I'm not sure the exact title, but basically clubs and caucuses statewide. And this is part of his job to help make sure they all get recertified. He very graciously offered his own personal time to come to our board meeting last week. And he told me over the phone, and I invited him and he came right over. He said, the hardest part of recertification is getting the renewed loyalty oaths of the officers of the clubs and caucuses, because you got to get them all there at the same time. And you got to countersign each other's with 2 witnesses on the bottom, so you don't have to go to a notary. And darn, isn't that what we just did? Russ came, he brought the loyalty pledges. We all got it done. I've scanned it. It's ready to officially send in. I have the originals to give to Janet for record keeping. I forgot to bring them, but we'll get them to you. And yeah, same one I forgot. You don't know how busy. Actually, I'll mention that. So anyhow, we'll get the package on the 15th. I'm told we can resubmit a lot of stuff that we already have from the last one, such as their bylaws, unless there's any intent that we change them. And I haven't heard that, and I'm not proposing it. So we can leave that sleeping dog lie unless somebody brings it up on the board, then they want to go that way. Yeah, whatever. So anyhow, it's not as big a deal as I was afraid it was. He did make one comment, is that if you don't get the checking account signed over, meaning getting me on and Donna off, you're not going to get recertified. It's like, so I can tell you, I sat next with the Radliches, and it took us a lot longer than we thought to get that done, but we got it done. So now that I am on the account and Donna isn't, we're going to be recertified. So, woo! All right. One other very quick personal point of privilege. I got drafted in the last 2 weeks. Very surprisingly, I didn't look for it. It didn't want it. Kind of like, I'm here. Same thing. Up at the state level, the new head of the Democratic Environmental Caucus, who replaced Russ Kahn, is a gentleman by the name of Russ Capece, C-A-P-E-C-E. And he's been in my email chain. And because he and I are on the science committee of the DECF at the upper level, and I'm there only because I'm a utility guy and renewables energy guy and stuff you don't need to know about. Skill sets I left behind me over 13 years ago. But basically he said, you know, I think we can use you up here because you seem to speak Republican, which he meant, oh, you talk money and finance, and the Republicans take to that. We come up and say climate change, and their faces glaze over. So my new title up there, and I'll get off this, I am the chair of climate finance, because they asked me, well, what are you going to name yourself? I said, it ain't going to be climate change. It ain't going to be climate crisis. Climate's going to scare them. Finance, money. They're going to say, oh, what's that about? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm putting everything in terms they can understand why an environmental bill is either going to make them money or is going to lose them money. Okay. And that's it. And it's kind of a, you know, like I said, I guess I speak Republican. I am a trained Wall Street investment banker in addition to being a utility guy. And anyhow, I just started doing that, and I got some exciting ideas that are not for here. And I'm going to do my best to make Ron DeSantis's life miserable. Why we're in a super minority, okay? And I'm going to put this in a nice way. He's got his punch bowl on the table, and he's had his own way, obviously, this session, because we're the super minority. We can't take that punch bowl off the table, okay? In 2024, we hope to at least get out of a super minority position where we're able to block everything he wants to do. We see what happens this year when we can't. That'll be kind of putting our punch bowl on the table, so to speak. Whether we are proactively able to do it or just stop him, it's important. But the one thing I'm going to do using my skill sets, kind of like Liam Neeson, okay? Be careful if I use my skill sets on you as a Wall Street investment banker, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to put stuff in his punch bowl that he's not going to want to drink. And I'll just leave it at that, okay? All right, enough on that. Volunteers, committee, membership. I'm going to hand it over to Vicki Lowry.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody who came to the picnic. We had a pretty good time, I think. I think I was about 45 people there. We did receive 5 new members, and somebody also renewed, but there's 2 that are supposed to be paying on PayPal, so I haven't received that yet. I did receive a new person off of PayPal, but it wasn't from the picnic. So that makes 6 actually. Okay, so that's good. So anyways, and then on to Sunday, we went to the rally downtown Ybor at Centennial Park, and we had a pretty good time, right? Everybody in the back row was there. Catherine and Walt were there. Russ was there. Everybody's sitting in this room, but you and you, Mary, you guys are the only one. You weren't the only. You were the only ones not there. But anyways, it was a very nice rally, and I was amazed at how many people I hadn't seen in years, and actually ran into people I knew. But Nikki Freed. This session of Tallahassee under DeSantis has done. Okay. We have our parade coming up. Everybody get ready for that. I think everything's going to be kind of quiet. Radina is our Area 5 person, so she does the cutting of the areas and needing the volunteers. So if you can make an Area 5 meeting, it does come out on Mobilize, and she does have all of our email addresses because we do share that. So try and make the Area 5 meetings. It's at 7:30 at the Bloomingdale Library. Okay, so Brandon. So it'll be at the Bloomingdale Library, and it's at the same night as the women's club is also there. So oh, you're at Riverview? Oh. Also Saturday, I mentioned something about a little bus tour. And I said something about going to the Native American Museum. And I think it was you, Mary, mentioned something about what about the Holocaust Museum? Okay. So, but no, I mean, I just want to hear where we might like to go, and what we might like to do would be an all-day tour. It's going to be a fundraising event. So if you don't want to get off your wallet, don't bother to sign up. Yes, I am. So, well, it's not going to be cheap because you got a bus. You know, nothing's cheap today. But I did check into buses. I have one company. He's right there in Apollo Beach. And he's a friend of mine, and he has a 47 passenger, and he also has a 59 passenger. So, but anyway, so I've checked into that, but I just need the details and then whether or not anybody would really like to do that. So if you'd like to volunteer, and contact me on ideas and what you might like to do we want to do a lunch or whatever, in among the tour, or if we even want to do the tour, and then we can go into the pricing. And this would be sometime, I would say somewhere around maybe September, August, when it's too hot to do anything else. Not everybody goes to Candy King, my friend. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. I have one little personal tidbit. This is Reed the guy. My wife was out for 6 weeks. She came back and actually came into our picnic, and that's the first time I saw her in 6 weeks, so I'm very glad. And here's the amazing thing: she sat down and was enjoying the picnic, and Chris came over and talked to her, and they had a really good long talk. And I don't know what charm he's got or what superpower he's got, but Vicky, I need to upgrade my membership from single to family, because Cindy, and you don't know what this means. My wife is very shy and retiring. She wants to join our club. So Chris, whatever you did or said, she decided that she just needs more of you. And she's still unpacking, literally unpacking from 6 weeks and doing laundry. So she's not here tonight, but because I've tried to get her to join, I've tried to do anything. Regina knows. She has said, I want to join. And I almost fell off a chair. And I don't know why. I didn't ask, but all I can know is Chris Radulich. So Susan, you better be careful here. And I got to be careful, but thank goodness, Chris, thank you. Now, is there anything else that I forgot? Because I'm still learning this stuff. I think we're done. Great. All right. Well, just one thing at a time.
As Vicky mentioned, there was a unity rally on the 7th, and Nikki Fried gave her speech at the very beginning. And if you weren't there, excuse me, and would like to hear it, you can go to our Facebook page, and the speech is on that.
Do we have a new member here to introduce? A renewed member. Oh, okay. Okay, great. I just wanted to know. That's good.
We're in the open discussion period, and if you need to leave or want to leave and can't wait to get out of here, what can I say? But Regina has something to say. And now is when, if you want to talk about today's news, Trump and his 5 million, or Mr. DeSantis being indicted. Who knows what else has happened since we've been starting this meeting? It's that kind of a news day. And here's Regina.
I just want to make sure that everybody re-ups for vote by mail. I have a QR code, and you can just take your phone out, use the QR code. It takes you right to the Supervisor of Elections site. You sign up. It takes no time at all, but then you're guaranteed to get a ballot in the mail. And everybody lost their vote by mail request after the midterm elections. That was the way that everything has morphed. So if you think that because you got one for the midterms, you're on the list, you're not, unless you re-signed up.
Right, and I want to thank Donna for, I was not sure what level of involvement she wanted after she was able to get her release from Dorn's file for 7 years. And she's reaffirmed, one, by coming to our board meeting, and secondly, but basically I asked her the question. She is still a very full and fully active member of this club. And as an ex officio past president, I'm going to send her everything that is board related, because you don't have to do anything on it. If you don't want it, I won't give it to you, but you said it's okay. So I'm going to send it to you. Okay. And I'm very happy with what's going on. The only thing I would say is I'm very terrified about the debt ceiling, because I'm an investment banker and I know what it means that the US dollar is a reserve currency since 1946 in Bretton Woods. And we're going to lose that if they go off the cliff. And I won't bore you with what that means. Simply said, it ain't good. Okay. And the only outcome I see possible, and this is just me being speculative, the only way out is that there is a discharge petition that was stealth inserted by an obscure Democrat in January that is going to, because he knew when to do it, it will be able to be brought to the floor and voted on to take away the power of the floor control from McCarthy and put a clean debt ceiling bill on the table. But here's the catch. We have 213. We need 5 Republicans willing to take the Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney route and basically sacrifice their career for the good of the country. And I'm serious about this, for the global economy. Okay. And that's the only out I see. And they're trying, you know that. I mean, they kind of even said they're meeting with people. Don't know if it's going to succeed, but that is the only out I see. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun. And it's going to be by June the 1st, according to our Treasury Secretary, Geneal. So I'm sorry to end on that scary note. Well, no, what I'm saying, all of that person, I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get to you. That's why we're here, because now we can talk about it. Look, I understand all that in a personal level. Me too. I'm in Social Security. But I'm saying my perspective, being very knowledgeable as a Wall Street trained banker, it's even worse than you think. Oh, yes, it is. When the US dollar is no longer the reserve currency, okay, right now the safest haven that everybody puts their money, every country, everybody, is US treasuries. If they no longer do that because treasuries get downrated again, all the interest rates on our national accumulated gazillion, trillions of debt will go up by at least 200 basis points. Okay, and to put it in climate change terms, if 2 degrees Celsius is going to destroy us, and it will, everybody says, oh, what's 2 degrees? Once again, 200 basis points on all of our accumulated debt just to continue to roll over a treasury debt. Yeah, that's 2%. A basis point is 1/100. Sorry, 1/100th of a percent. And the Fed just raised interest rates again by 25. We call them BIPs, basis points, i.e., 1/4%. Okay, and that's another issue in itself. All right, sorry to scare you. I really enjoyed this meeting. I really enjoyed our picnic. I really enjoyed Sunday. I really enjoyed what we're doing. I don't know about you, but I'm excited and I'm looking forward for 2024. So thank you all very much. And if there's, oh, sorry. I'm trying to quit talking so I can get out of here.
My quick question is, what is this I've been reading about recently about, what is it, the 14th Amendment that Joe Biden can use to make sure our debts are paid? Yeah. Well, he's a negotiator. He knows how the game is played. He's been there, what, 45 years? So he knows what he's doing. But does anyone have any, I mean, it's the 14th Amendment. Now, what you said, Reed, about the catastrophe that'll happen if the debt ceiling is not raised is true. And it will go to everything all over this country and the world, because I look at it this way. A spouse cannot tell another spouse, I won't pay the mortgage this month because you're spending too much on food. You know, that's what it gets down to. You know, we must honor our debts. You know, we got to pay the light bill if we want to keep the lights on. Simple as that.
I have an answer for you.
How many times have we seen the Republicans use the debt ceiling?
Yeah.
Every time there's a Democrat in the White House, it becomes a debt ceiling. They didn't think twice in passing the 2017 Trump tax bill. It was a scam. Good place to live. They're all they are just good.
Okay, I'd like to answer him. He asked about the 14th Amendment. Yeah, I don't remember the exact wording. It basically says, "Thou shalt not dishonor or not pay our debts." And out of that comes the theory that the Treasury can issue a $1 trillion coin itself that's worth $1 trillion and put it in the Treasury, and therefore crisis solved. That's what links to that obscure provision in the 14th Amendment. It's a theory. It's never been done. I guess you're right. That's another potential outcome. I don't know how real it is. I'm counting on the petition, discharge, and 5 brave Republicans that will sacrifice themselves to save, frankly, the global economy, let alone all of us. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Going. I make a motion, we close the business meeting. Seconded, closed. Thank you. Goodbye. See you next month.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Eventually you'll get me. That's all right. You're gonna stop thinking of it, but eventually you will. Right now, like my son said, I'm today.
Well, you know how to find us.
Yeah. When I was working with Joe Moran last election, you know, he called me and I said, oh, I can't make that meeting. And one time I showed up for a meeting and nobody was there. And they started doing my whole precinct by themselves and they ran into me and then I ended up doing like 500 houses. So, I'll get there. Unless the help.
Sooner is always better because it's only gonna get hotter.
Yeah, I know, but I'm gone. Some of
And I've got.
in Missouri is my granddaughter's graduation.
Congratulations.
So, actually, yeah. And then, so that, and then pretty much brings me down to the end of the month. And so, but it'll be June and I'll be back. Yeah. Our 50th anniversary, I'm sure I'll do something, we'll do something for that, but maybe in the middle of the week. Not. So.
But I'm really just saying, I know that's very long. And she's definitely basically answer years, which is enough. So she.
Oh, did you bring the tickets?
I did. Sorry, all kinds of stuff in my car. I was carrying the bread and I've only got 2 tickets. I've got the chest, I've got the tickets, I've got the Vicky ones. It's all in my car, so like I'm out.
Tried to wrap this up and it wouldn't wrap because it's so riddly.